Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad to have you here on this rainy or maybe not yet rainy night for you. My name is Lorraine Crawford, and I'll be discussing my research on the health benefits of journaling. I'd imagine many of you have journaled. I started journaling when I was a child, probably around 8 years old, in my diary. Recounting the typical stories that you do when you're young about your friends, about school, favorite, not so favorite classes, teachers, crushes, family life, things like that. And then as my horizons grew, so did my reasons for journaling. So then I graduated to composition notebooks to brainstorm future goals, job ideas, as well as later on processing all sorts of life changes like divorce, traumas, and health challenges, all the while generating some light bulb moments and creative writing along the way. Now, decades later, I've discovered that there are specific and wide-ranging health benefits to opening our hearts through the written word. Today, we will look at some findings, benefits, and different types of journaling mentioned in the scientific literature, then respond to some short writing prompts. We will have time at the end to share, which will not be recorded. So let's begin our journey. In journaling, the possibilities to feel better are at our fingertips. We can release emotions that have become toxic. We may reminisce about a relationship, a loved one who has passed, a trauma we never healed, and peak times in our lives. You may want to brainstorm a new business idea or solution for a personal or community problem. In the process, we are gaining wisdom, becoming stronger, and releasing old shame, anger, sadness, which creates more space for peace and joy. To share my background, in July of 2022, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. My first reaction was a combination of shock and denial, and panic at night kept me from getting the rest I needed. So, one of the tools I turned to was journaling. Journaling was key as it helped me to downregulate my system, face my fears, and organize and befriend myself. This act of self-care gave me courage, acceptance, hope, and something I had been needing for a long time, resilience. I believe that writing before and after my surgery helped me to physically heal faster too. As I was recovering, I decided to turn my diagnosis journal into a book to support and encourage others. My hope is that this journal will help not only those with a diagnosis of breast cancer, but those with any difficult diagnosis or stressful change. And these are some of the reasons that I came up with to journal. To process our thoughts, feelings, to recount our history, to gain clarity and wisdom, to explore creativity, to deepen our relationship to ourselves, to grow and become more resilient, to enjoy the go, letting go, that is, and to improve our health. In journaling, when putting together this presentation, I was happily surprised to find scientific data supporting the health benefits of journaling. The simple act of writing about our feelings can change our stress level. Stress is defined to conditions where an environmental demand exceeds the natural regulatory capacity of an organism. In particular, situations that include unpredictability and uncontrollability. Lowering stress can reduce inflammation and cortisol, which can improve our blood pressure and liver function. Patients with mild to moderately severe asthma or rheumatoid arthritis who wrote about stressful life experiences had clinically relevant positive changes in health status months compared to those in the control group. These gains were beyond those attributable to the standard medical care that all participants were receiving. And that would be 47% versus 24% of improvement. The term expressive writing is used frequently in journaling research. It is a therapeutic writing technique developed in the late 1980s by psychologist Dr. James Penbaker. It involves writing for short, consistent periods of 15 to 20 minutes for 3 to 4 consecutive days about deep, personal, and emotional experiences. Unlike traditional journaling, which might document daily events, expressive writing focuses on processing intense emotions, stressors, or traumas to foster emotional and physical healing. Keys to expressive writing are to keep the pen on paper or fingers on the keyboard. If you run out of things to say, repeat to yourself or write, "I don't know what to write," until a new thought comes. Do not worry about spelling, grammar, or sentence structure. Yay, there's no grading here. Write with the knowledge that it is private, allowing for absolute honesty. Sometimes this leads to throwing it away or deleting it afterwards. Maybe a good idea in some cases. Focus on your deepest feelings and thoughts regarding a challenge, rather than just the facts of what happened. The purpose is to turn disorganized, stressful experiences into a coherent narrative. This process allows for cognitive reframing, helping you see events from new angles, reduce ruminative thoughts, and diminish the intensity of negative emotions. So here are some of the longer-term benefits. Fewer stress-related visits to the doctor, improved immune system functioning, reduced blood pressure, as was mentioned, improved lung function, improved liver function, fewer days in the hospital, improved mood or affect, feeling of greater psychological well-being, reduced depressive symptoms before examinations, and fewer post-traumatic intrusion and avoidance symptoms. There's also social and behavioral benefits, reduced absenteeism from work, quicker reemployment after job loss, improved working memory, improved sporting performance, higher students' grade point average, altered social and linguistic behavior. In a study by Penbaker, he's located at UT Austin, and Dr. Keith Petrie at the University of Auckland, they found a pattern among HIV/AIDS patients. The researchers asked 37 patients in 4 30-minute sessions to write about negative life experiences or about their daily schedules. Afterward, patients who wrote about life experiences measured higher on helper T cell counts than did controls. Other research indicates that suppressing negative trauma-related thoughts compromises immune functioning, and that those who write visit the doctor less often. Also, Petrie's colleague, Dr. Roger Booth, has linked writing with a stronger antibody response to the hepatitis B vaccine. To tap writing's healing power, people must use it to better understand and learn from their emotions, according to Dr. Joshua Smith, a psychologist from the University of Syracuse. This one is a pretty amazing benefit. Researchers in New Zealand investigated whether expressive writing could help older adults heal faster after a medically necessary biopsy. In the study, 49 healthy adults aged 64 to 97 years wrote about either upsetting events or daily activities for 20 minutes, 3 days in a row. After a lag time of 2 weeks, to make sure any initial negative feelings stirred up by recalling upsetting events had passed, all the subjects had a biopsy on the arm. Photographs over the next 21 days tracked its healing. On the 11th day, 76% of the group that did expressive writing had fully healed, as compared with 42% of the control group. Wow. How could this work, you wonder? It is thought that writing lessens stress hormones like cortisol, which improve immune system functioning. Also, sleep improved, which speeds recovery time. What is the next benefit to journaling? Oh, yeah, it improves our memory and even our short-term memory. Working memory capacity was examined in 2-semester-long experiments. In the first study, 35 freshmen assigned to write about their thoughts and feelings about coming to college demonstrated larger working memory gains 7 weeks later, compared with 36 writers assigned to a trivial topic. In the second study, students who wrote about a negative personal experience enjoyed greater working memory improvements and declines in intrusive thinking compared with students who wrote about a positive experience or a trivial topic. Journaling boosts working memory primarily by functioning as an external hard drive for the brain. Clearing up mental bandwidth frees up executive resources, allowing the brain to better hold, manipulate, and process new information. The key mechanisms of how this works include journaling clears cognitive clutter. There's some good alliteration there. Research shows that expressive writing about stressful events reduces intrusive thoughts. Because your brain isn't constantly chewing on anxiety, it has more capacity for active tasks. Journaling activates neural pathways. Putting pen to paper stimulates the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for executive function and working memory. And journaling reconsolidates information. Journaling about events forces you to sequence and organize thoughts. This helps your hippocampus better encode and integrate experiences. Journaling also improves mental health by providing a private and low-cost outlet to process emotions, reduce anxiety, and regulate mood. Research shows it helps lower the stress hormone cortisol, break obsessive thought loops, and effectively manage conditions like anxiety and PTSD. How about this simple antidote to these crazy times? Writing down worries helps break the nonstop cycle of overthinking, moving pent-up feelings out of your head and onto paper. Putting words to your feelings builds self-awareness, allowing you to recognize emotional triggers and respond rather than just react. Documenting daily events and reactions makes it easier to spot pessimistic or cognitive distortions, paving the way for healthier coping strategies. Write regularly, even if for 5 minutes each morning or night. If you are typing on your computer or phone before bed, lower the brightness so the screen doesn't keep you awake. Taking time to list things you are grateful for or writing about positive experiences actively shifts your perspective and cultivates happiness. Ah, so good. In one study, keeping a daily diary was more healing than expressive writing. A diary is written strictly for yourself, It's an unfiltered outlet for emotional release, memory keeping, and private thoughts. On the other hand, a blog, which is written for a public audience, the goal is to provide value, share expertise, tell a story, or build a community, just like Gayla does with our sacred space. Unlike a bedside journal, blogging offers the added benefit of receptive readers in similar situations. Individuals are connecting with one another and witnessing each other's expressions, the foundation for forming a community. Blogging releases dopamine, similar to the effects of running or listening to music. Recent functional MRI studies have shown that the brain lights up differently before, during, and after writing. At the University of Arizona, psychologist and neuroscientist Richard Lane uses brain imaging to study the neuroanatomy of emotions and their expressions, specifically as emotions relate to sudden cardiac death and as memory and emotions allow lasting change in psychotherapy. Whatever the underlying causes may be, people coping with, say, cancer diagnoses and other serious conditions are increasingly seeking and finding solace in the blogosphere. Some hospitals have started hosting patient-authored blogs on their websites as clinicians begin to recognize its therapeutic value. Another type of journaling that they mentioned was positive affect journaling. That would include things like gratitude and joy lists, focusing on strengths, connection and meaning, and anticipation and hope. Let's try some positive affect journaling. If you're not sure how to start, just begin by writing down whatever pops into your mind. Don't worry about grammar, spelling, or punctuation, as was mentioned with expressive writing. Just let it flow like a stream of consciousness. Fill up every space on the page if you'd like. I will show you 5 prompts, one at a time, and give you about 2 minutes to write about each one. You can use these as a launching point to come back to later, or you can write about anything that speaks to you in this moment. Okay, so let's begin. everyone enjoyed that little taste of journaling. Give yourself some gratitude for doing that. You took a step for your health, for your mental and physical health. I'd like to leave you with this. Let the journaling process take you where it wants to go. It may be upsetting at times, especially at first, to be completely honest with yourself and feel all those feels that you may be suppressing and have been suppressing for who knows how long. I see journaling as spring cleaning for the soul as you clear and transform old traumas and disappointments. It may take a while, but you will become stronger and lighter in spirit. This was my experience, and I wish for you the same. Feel free to contact me to share your experience with journaling, and or if you have comments about my book. Thank you for joining me today to dig into the scientific side of journaling. I hope it was interesting and encouraging. Thank you to Gayla to extend this invitation to me. May all of you experience your own healing journey through writing. Let journaling be a continual gift to yourself.